Hi there, Heather Steves here, and today I want to share with you a fun layout that I did for a Christmas in July challenge. So I started out with this sketch that I had created in Cricut Design Space, and based on that sketch, I chose some papers from this Teresa Collins Tinsel Co kit, and look at all these beautiful papers. Aren't they gorgeous? They're so pretty, but in fact, I'm actually only going to use this one paper from the kit. So I have this one Christmas tree paper, and I'm going to cut it to fit my layout. So I don't need an awful lot of it, but I do need one smaller piece for the one side and then one strip for the other side. So I'm just trimming it down here, and you see I'm kind of playing around with where I'm cutting it, just so that I kind of have those trees centered. So I cut it repeatedly until I kind of got it the way that I wanted. And then on this next sheet, I'm just going to cut my one strip. And then I can start to play around with everything else that's going to go on this layout. So now that I've got those pieces ready, I'm just going to lay out my photos here, and that's going to help me to try and figure out what color papers that I want to add on here. I decided that I really want to matte these two papers to help them to stand out from the white background. So I thought I'd try some gold, which I thought would look good because there's a little bit of a gold color in that frame around the boys' photos, but in fact the brown that I had in my stash, which was exactly the right size, actually looks a lot better. I also had this green glitter cardstock, so I thought that would be really good. And then I went ahead and I pulled out some other papers so that I could cut my title. So I've gone ahead and done that on my Cricut. I've used some red pearlescent kind of paper, which I don't even know where it came from, and I can't seem to find it. But anyway, I had it, so I used it. And then I had this green glitter paper, like I said, and I'm using that for the title as well. So I'm just going ahead and attaching down my papers now. I'm using my Close to My Heart T-square ruler, which is fantastic for getting things lined up properly. It has the grids on it, which is wonderful. And it also now has this little T-square attachment, so you can line up your papers much better on the edge of your layout. So I'm not using the T-square part of it here because I can just line up the grid, which works out nicely. My little green strip that I've just attached on the one side there, it's actually a Cricut cut. It has a little bit of a scallop border on it, which you can't see very clearly in the video. But anyway, that I used because I wanted it to kind of mimic the whole idea of the shelf. Since my title is Elf on the Shelf, I thought it would look really kind of cool to mimic that across both pages. So you see here that I'm attaching the brown cardstock underneath my pattern paper, and because it is just a strip on both sides rather than a full piece underneath that overlaps, I've only attached the one side down, and then you see now I am slipping the other side underneath, and then that allows me to line it up much nicer and then attach the adhesive onto the other side of the pattern paper. So that's just a little trick that's helpful in order to save some paper sometime. I could have cut my brown pieces a lot smaller, but I had them, so I just used them the way they were. So now I'm just lining up my title just to try and figure out the spacing of this. And that little hat, it looks kind of black, but it's actually a little wood grain paper that I found, and that led me to pull out these Simple Stories Color Vibe wood grain alphabet letters so that I could maybe use them for on the words in between my title. But in the meantime, I have stuck down all of my title, and I'm just trying to decide what to use for the button, pom-pom, whatever on the elf hat. So I ended up pulling out these brads, and I'm going to go ahead and use one of those. So now I'm going back to my little sticker letters. I use my little old Creative Memories alignment tool there, and now you see I've got my T-square ruler. I'm trying to get that lined up nicely, but I realize I need to put it at the top of the letters and not at the bottom, so I'm just shifting that up. I just want to make sure I'm nice and straight. Put those letters down. And one thing you'll notice is I'm not actually using foam tape on any of these. Everything is just attached directly down to my papers on this. It would be maybe nice to pop up some of the title, but it would be a lot of work because they're pretty small letters, and especially the shelf letters. So I thought I'm just going to go with it on there directly, and it's fine. So I went ahead and I matted all of my photos just to give them a little bit more pop. And I pulled out these matching stickers, and I'm just trying to figure out what stickers that I want to put on here. I've got this little circle brad that came with the kit as well. And I'm using one of the longer border stickers that you see me taking on and off. And then I also have the little sticker that says the most wonderful time of the year. So I thought that would be a nice little subtitle to put there. And there's 2 stickers that actually say that. So that red one says it as well, but it's kind of the same length as that little border, so I don't think it looks that great. So I'm just going to go back to the smaller one and put it on there, and then it looks much better. So now I'm just grabbing my piercing tool and my foam mat, and I'm just poking through my layout so that I can add that brad. And then you'll note on the back I put a little bit of Scotch tape over that brad so that it will slide easily into my memory protector. On the back of my photos, I'm actually adding some foam tape on there. So even though my title doesn't have any dimension, I can still add a bit of dimension with my photos. This is a little trick I learned from Vicky Booten, so you can put it just on the top and then the bottom sits flush. I pulled out a couple of stickers that I think will go really nicely here, but I'm looking for something else to kind of layer there to make it just pop a bit more. So I did find this other sticker, but I want to cut it in half. So I just cut it out of my sticker sheet and just trimmed it on my trimmer, and now it just adds that little bit of extra pop to those little word stickers that I have. So I'm just adding some foam tape there so that they don't sink on me, so that they stay stuck up like the top of the photos are. And now I can move on to my photos on the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put foam tape on one side of it but not on the other, and just allow it to have some dimension and some interest to the page that way. So you may have noticed earlier when I had the photos laying out, this elf photo that's a little bit lighter in color was originally at the top, but you see I've put it in the middle. So that just creates a little bit better balance on my layout with my photos. So I have a dark, light, and then a dark. It just makes it much easier visually to look at the layout and make it look more cohesive. So I've just attached that other brad on the top of the hat, and now I have another little sticker here that I want to put on the top of this photo, but I don't have another similar sticker to put underneath it. So instead, I actually found a die cut in my stash that's almost identical. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out of cardstock, and then it pretty much looks the same as the sticker one, and you can barely notice a difference in it. And then I can just layer that instead, and it looks just great. So one thing that I really struggle with when I don't have an actual layout to copy from is adding embellishments. So you'll notice that I don't have an awful lot of embellishments here. I played around seeing if I should add some more somewhere, but I really struggle with that. So in the end, I pulled out these enamel dots. They match the dot on the hat, and I just added a couple of those. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and please have a fantastic day. Bye.